Welcome to the RSM YouTube channel. My name is Malena and today I will be talking about the scariest topic about student life in the Netherlands, and that is housing. I know it can be very stressful because it is not arranged by the university. You need to find it yourself. But don't worry, because I will talk about all the important things today in this video that you need to know in order to find an apartment. You might be a first-year student or a second year or third year. It doesn't matter, there will be something for everyone in this video. I will start by talking about reserved accommodations. This means accommodations, dorms, studios that are reserved by the university for first-year international students. And then in the second half of the video, we will talk about the private market and how to get in contact with landlords, safe platforms, and all that stuff. I will add timestamps in the video so you can only check those parts that are really relevant for you. Okay, starting with the student accommodations, first we have Xior. Xior is located very close to campus. It is 5 minutes away. It is a building full of studio apartments. It's about 200 apartments. You basically live alone, but it's never lonely because the building is full of other students. There's facilities such as the laundry room, a common room, a rooftop, and a bike garage. These apartments are available for first-year bachelor students and first-year master students, and it's only for internationals. The rent prices vary between 800 and 850 depending on how big your room is, and the contract is for 1 year only. So you need to stay there for a full year and you need to leave after the full year and find your own housing. So in order to get one of these rooms in Xior, it is honestly pretty hard because the registration procedure is kind of like getting concert tickets. You need to be online at a specific date and time and really book your room. But the problem is that there is a very high demand for it, so the website might crash. I am not sure if it's going to be like that again, but it is still manageable. You can, if you're lucky, get a room in Xior. Okay, the second reserved accommodation in the same category as Xior, it's the building Hatta. This building is directly on campus, and here the difference is that you live in an apartment but with roommates. So these are not studios anymore like Xior, but the principle is very similar to Xior. I have a friend, Masha, who was very kind to film a little apartment tour for us and talk about her experience living in Hatta. So, on to Masha.
Hi, my name's Masha. I'm a first-year IBA student and I live in Hatta, and today I'm going to tell you more about it. If you're a first-year international student under 30 and have never studied in the Netherlands before, then Hatta might be an option for you. There are two types of apartments in Hatta building. First one is 3-room apartment where you have 2 roommates and you share a kitchen and a bathroom together. And the second type is where you have your own kitchen and only 1 roommate with whom you share only bathroom. Now, you might have a question, how much does this all cost? Well, for my apartment, I pay 600 euros per month. This price includes all the taxes, so I don't pay anything extra. Now let's talk about how to get into Hatta. Honestly, from my experience, the registration and booking process was pretty tough. The system works the way that you firstly have to register and get approved by university, and only then you get a right to book an apartment. For me, it took 2 weeks to get approved, and only after I emailed the university, I actually got the approval and booked my apartment the last day. If you unfortunately couldn't get into Hatta, you shouldn't give up. In my case, the registration to Hatta was before Xior, and many people booked an apartment in Hatta, and after receiving an apartment in Xior, they unbooked the apartment here, and many of my friends got their apartments in May, even though the deadline was April. The registration to Hatta is usually somewhere between April and May, so make sure you don't miss it.
So that was Hatta. If you have any more questions about Hatta, all the links are down below. Thank you so much, Masha. The third accommodation is the Social Hub. This building is very close to campus as well, but a bit further away than Hatta and Xior, for example. So this is a 15-minute walk to the university, and it also has a tram right in front of the building that can get you to the center or the uni. It is very well connected. It's a very good location. A pro of TSH is also that it has a lot of facilities. So there is a gym in the building, there's a movie theater, a laundry room, bikes to rent, and a lot of study spaces and just a lot of social common spaces to hang out with people. There's multiple types of rooms with a very wide price range, but you can go on the website and see what room fits you the best. In order to get into TSH, the process is not like concert tickets anymore. I would say it's much more relaxed, but I still wouldn't wait too long because what happens usually is that people who didn't get into Xior or Hatta then get a room at TSH, so it can fill up rather quickly, so don't wait too long. The last reserved accommodation is the Cohesion Cobana. This is a building under the river, so it is pretty far away from the university. It is about 20 minutes by bike, if you bike really fast. And it's about 40 minutes with the metro, so this might not be the best option because it is pretty far and quite expensive, but if you don't mind those two things, then this could be a good accommodation for you because it is quite nice. It has a balance between privacy and social life because you live you live with students in a building, but you do get your own bathroom that you don't have to share with anyone. And there's also a gym and a rooftop terrace. To get into the Cohesion Cobana, the process is kind of similar to the Xior and Hatta one, so there is a strict registration time and date. But here you can apply for as many rooms as you want in order to increase your chances of getting one. Okay, so that was it with the reserved accommodations. However, only 25% of students manage to find a room in these accommodations, so now we're going to talk about the part that may be more relevant to most of you, and that is the private market and other providers. Before you start looking for any apartments, I would get familiar with this map right here. I drew in green areas and red areas. Green areas are kind of areas that you really want to be in, so that I would recommend, and red ones are not very student friendly and very far. Housinganywhere helps international students find housing by connecting them to private landlords, agencies, or students who are going on exchange, so students who want to rent out their room during their semester abroad. On the website you can find all the types of apartments they're offering. I would recommend to check this website regularly because they are posting new things every once in a while. You will see pictures of the apartment, the roommates you will be having, the pricing, so it's different for every apartment because private landlords decide the pricing. Sometimes there are utilities included in the rent price, sometimes it's partial, so only some bills. So yeah, make sure to read the description carefully so you know what you're looking for. Please keep in mind that you do need to pay a registration fee in order to contact these landlords. So there is a subscription pricing plan that I will show you here. So you pay a one-time payment and then you can contact as many landlords as you want within that time frame. And if you like something, you can book the room directly on the website. The next one is called Stadswonen. And this is kind of similar to Housinganywhere because private landlords upload their apartments that can be located anywhere in the city. But here the registration fee is a bit different. So you pay a one-time registration fee of 25 euros. And then the longer you are registered, the higher your chances are to get a room. So you can apply for rooms and then they choose the tenant based on how long they have been registered. I would advise you to register as soon as you can, even if you are not looking for housing yet, because it might be very beneficial later. Next one is Holland to Stay. Here it is about two different locations. There is the Lee Tower and the DNA Tower. Holland to Stay has a rather particular registration process because this is a lottery system. So every Tuesday, Holland to Stay uploads a new apartment that you can apply for. But then after a certain time frame, the tenant is chosen randomly. So you have to be really lucky to get one of these apartments. Of course, to participate in the lotteries, there is a registration fee, you already know at this point. So here there's a one-time payment of 26 euros that you need to pay in the beginning, and then you can take part on as many lotteries as you want. So what all of these platforms have in common is the registration fee, and I know it can be very frustrating to have to pay for all of those and then not be guaranteed an apartment in any of them, but I still strongly advise you to pay the fees just to keep your options open. The next platform is Roomplaza. It offers fully furnished apartments all across the city, and you can look for them individually or with friends, and you have a higher chance with looking with a whole group. So I would advise you to do that if you are already living in Rotterdam and you have friends that you want to live with. I know this might not be the best option for first-year students who are coming to the city without knowing anybody, but even then, I remember when I first got accepted into the IBA program, there were these WhatsApp group chats where we all kind of got to know each other a little bit before the program started. And people were kind of getting to know each other in private chats as well. Or they would post messages such as, we are 3 people and we're looking for 2 more people to apply to Roomplaza rooms. Is anyone willing to live with us? And stuff. So it is still possible to find a place on Roomplaza with people you may not know so well by meeting them before that in the WhatsApp group chats. ISHR stands for International Student Housing Rotterdam, and it offers shared apartments where you have roommates, where you share kitchen and bathroom with them, but you don't have to find those roommates yourself because this is already arranged by the platform. The rent price varies between 450 and 650 euro per month, and it includes all utilities and taxes. If you don't get into reserved accommodations and you don't find anything on the platforms, another option might be Facebook groups. I wrote down the most popular ones in the description, you can check them out, but I will talk about scams as well and what you need to look out for. Here are some red flags that you should avoid if you see them in Facebook groups. First is that you should never pay before registration. Sometimes they will ask you to pay before you even sign, which is, don't do that. Just don't do that. Also, if they ask you to pay a deposit on the platform's MoneyGram or Western Union, don't do that. Those are usually the platforms that scammers use. Also, avoid paying for visits. So sometimes the landlord will charge you just to come and see the apartment, even though they already chose which tenant they will give it to, just so they can make more money by making you pay for the tour. The last one is very important, and that is that you should be able to register the apartment under your name. Some landlords will try to tell you that you can live in the apartment and pay the rent and do everything normally, but that they cannot register you, which is not good, because if you are going to study here and stay in the Netherlands for more than 4 months, you need to get registered at the city hall as a citizen to get your BSN number, and only with the BSN number can you work, get paid, open a bank account, apply for health insurance, all those things. So don't take an apartment where you can't register. Okay, that was it. That was the most important information you need to find housing in Rotterdam. I know it was a lot at once, but I hope you found something that sounds just right to you and that you will have luck searching for your apartment. So, to conclude, my general tips are: start looking early. Even if you think it's too early to start looking, it's probably not. Just start. Secondly, remember that you don't necessarily need to see the apartment in real life, but if you are looking in a Facebook group, then do make sure to see it and really make sure that your landlord doesn't show any of the signs that I mentioned before. And lastly, make sure to look at the map. You can take a screenshot of the map I showed and really make sure that the apartments you're considering are in an area that you really want to be in. That was it. I hope you found this video helpful. I have left all the platforms, links, reserved accommodations, all the things I talked about. I left links in the description so you can check out all of that directly under the video. And I hope that you have a lot of luck searching for your apartment. Bye!